Ancient scriptures of India classify all the different ways for self-development and self-realization into four broad categories: Karma Yoga, Gyan Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Raja Yoga. The term Raja Yoga, however, has been used in many different ways. It can get a bit confusing. Some schools of thought call the highest state of being as Raja Yoga, a synonym of samadhi or enlightenment. In Jyotishi or Indian astrology, certain planetary combinations which are considered auspicious are also called Raja Yoga. In Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, we don't know when exactly Patanjali existed. Exact historical dates are not known, but around 2000 years ago. In that, he describes Ashtanga Yoga, or the Eightfold Path. Lots of people call Ashtanga Yoga as Raja Yoga. By the way, Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga is not to be confused by Ashtanga Vinyasa Yoga, a sequence of asanas or postures linked by a flowing movement. This was created by Pattabhi Jois in the recent mid 20th century. Semantically, I wish people had used different words to define different things, but it is what it is. For someone interested in Indian spiritual philosophy, it is quite easy to get lost in what these words exactly mean. You can see with the term Raja Yoga how confusing it can get. And it is understandable. These terms have been used over thousands of years by different schools. A lot of these jargons don't have an exact meaning which is agreed by everybody. Even within the yogic paradigm, the exact meaning will depend on which school of thought you're following or delving into. Here, we refer to Raja Yoga as one of the four broad classifications. Now, to understand Raja Yoga, we first need to understand something about living beings. That we are not just our physical body. Of course, the human body is a biochemical phenomena, but we are more than that. The scientific and medical community does not completely understand consciousness and life energy. But sadly, the issue is that any explanation that doesn't fit in with the current biochemical concepts are abandoned as pseudoscientific. At one level, the understanding of humans as a chemical machine has definitely improved humanity's health. From the early 20th century to mid century, especially early 20th century, especially with the advent of penicillin, there has been remarkable improvement in the handling of certain diseases. And over centuries, science has had to put up a big fight against dogmatic religions to come to that point. But with this success came the fortification of the viewpoint that we are nothing but an array of chemical reactions. Interestingly, a lot of cures created by the biochemical understanding produces a secondary disease. Golden health and extended life for humanity is still a dream. There has been a constant widening of horizons in the field of physics, but that kind of quantum widening hasn't happened in the biological understanding of humans, nor has the advances from the other fields been integrated into it. This might be because of the stalemate produced by the existence of the big pharmaceutical industry and their influence on the medical scientific community. Ironically, the field which once had led the war against dogma is now the most dogmatic of all sciences. The hypothesis that we are not just our physical body is the backbone of spirituality. The physical body is the outermost layer. It is the vessel in which our spirit, our energy or life force flows and circulates. In the yogic terminology, this is called prana. In the Taoist tradition, it is known as chi. Raja Yoga is working on our prana through the body mind. Karma Yoga is playing the game of life, and through rectifying our external actions, our energy, our prana evolves. Gyan Yoga is reaching higher levels of understanding, and as our understanding matures, our energy transforms. Bhakti Yoga is surrendering to a higher force, and through that, our prana purifies. Raja Yoga is fine tuning our body mind instrument through different meditational methods and techniques, and through it, working on our prana. Raja also means king, the one who governs and guides his kingdom, the body mind, towards progression and development. There are many modalities through which we can work on our prana, our chi. One school of yogic philosophy, in their way, explains that prana runs in the body through a network of nadis. The main right hand side channel is called Pingala, which is represented by the Sanskrit syllable Ha. The left side channel called Ida is represented by the Sanskrit syllable Tha. The purification, balance and strengthening of prana or energy flow through body postures and movement and breathing techniques is called Hatha, Hatha Yoga. There are other schools of thoughts in the yogic traditions who see the science behind Hatha Yoga from other angles. And there are many different styles of doing this physical yoga. Now, Taoists see prana or chi in their own way, that chi runs in the body through meridians. And they discovered another set of movements which influence chi and called it Tai Chi. Both Hatha Yoga and Tai Chi use the body to purify our energy, and both and many other techniques fall under the bigger umbrella of Raja Yoga. After all, Raja Yoga is a demarcation. It's a way to understand and categorize different paths. Just because this demarcation was done in India, it doesn't mean it has to only include paths discovered in India. We don't have to be so parochial in our understanding. These categorizations are a brilliant concept, and a concept's job is to deepen our understanding. All paths of evolution trodden on, discovered in the world can be classified using these four broad categories. And the point of this understanding is understanding for understanding's sake. Now, like postures and movement and breathing techniques, certain sounds too have an effect on our prana. These sounds are called mantra in the yogic system. Om is a very strong and commonly used mantra in the Hindu and Buddhist traditions. A lot of different traditions have used chanting of mantras as a way to influence energy. Sufis call their mantra zikr. There's a very beautiful saying about the effect of sound inside us. The Sufis say that first you do the zikr and then the zikr does you. There are many modalities. In India itself, there are hundreds of branches, schools and lineages, some quite similar to each other and some very different, but all use different ways to reach to the same point. Though not all techniques are equal for an individual, some will affect our particular body mind much more than the other. On an ending note, it is good to remember that very few of us will follow just one path. Karma, Gyan, Bhakti, Raja, For most of us, our journey will be a mix, perhaps one more than the other. What exactly will suit us best will depend on our unique needs.